Why remote access is the #1 ransomware entry point. In most cases, hackers don't actually break into computers. Generally, they gain access. And the way they gain access is through the access points that are already there. And usually, the remote access that your company has set up so that it can actually run and function as a business, not just internally within its environment, but ensuring that you've got hybrid and remote workers that can remote in. That's usually how they'll get in, and that's the biggest spread of ransomware. So most businesses use some type of VPNs, remote desktop or cloud portals, but these are often the things that if they're not set up securely, then this is the easiest route for hackers to get in. Many businesses will rely on things like their firewalls and their antivirus to stop being hacked, but it's often the genuine credentials that the hackers will obtain, and then they can just log straight into these entry points. So what do you need to do to make sure that this doesn't happen to you and your business? So we've come up with the 4 basics that you need to be testing and checking today. So the first one is, have you got multi-factor authentication for the login? An example would be you have a username and a password, and then it pings your mobile, or you use an authenticator app to give you an additional code. This means that if your username and password does get lost on the dark web, it still only gets to a point of the login. It doesn't allow them access to go straight the way through. Number 2 is to lock down remote access. Make sure that it's only the bare number of people that can use these functions. Often you may have defaults within your user accounts where if you create a new user, it automatically gives them remote access. You want to make sure that all those sorts of controls are switched off and it's completely minimized. Number 3, remove what you don't need. If you've got different softwares and different packages, does the person actually need to be using these direct routes into your data? Just make sure that you do a full audit and you restrict as much as you can. Number 4 is monitor unusual logins. You need to make sure that you're keeping an eye on who's logging in and when they're logging in. And often times of day can be a really good marker for this. But often with a Microsoft environment, you can have that audit trail so that you can see exactly when people are logging in. Maybe you've got a user that could have already been breached, but the hacker is still logging in and mimicking that user, and they're just learning the environment. So having a real good eye on who's logging in and whether there's anything unusual is a really good way of minimizing your risk. Ransomware isn't just a malware problem, it's an access problem, and it can happen with all types of businesses. At Syn-Star, we specialize in reviewing and auditing all of these types of things to ensure that the risk upfront is minimal and then the chance of being attacked is reduced. Syn-Star are offering a free cybersecurity review, so please click on the link below to book and ensure your future peace of mind.